This audiobook is your guide to breaking free from the chains of limitation and unlocking your infinite potential. As you listen, you'll uncover timeless truths that reveal the only walls holding you back are the ones built by your own beliefs. Step into the boundless power that has always been within you and begin your journey to becoming limitless. Becoming limitless. Introduction. In the eternal dance of existence, you stand at a threshold, a sacred moment of awakening to truths that have guided souls through countless generations. The wisdom you are about to encounter transcends time itself, flowing like an ancient river that has carved paths through the bedrock of human consciousness. Your journey begins with a fundamental truth. The limitations you perceive are but shadows cast by thoughts, not walls built of stone. These perceived boundaries, which seem to define the edges of your possibilities, exist only in the realm of belief. They are ethereal mists that dissolve in the light of awareness. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows no bounds. It does not recognize the artificial barriers erected by doubt and fear. Just as a wave cannot exist separately from the ocean, you cannot be separated from the infinite potential that flows through all creation. This connection to the boundless has always existed within you, waiting to be remembered. Your thoughts, like seeds planted in fertile soil, grow into the reality you experience. When these thoughts spring from limitation, from the accumulated weight of past experiences, cultural conditioning, or learned helplessness, they create a world that reflects these constraints. But when your thoughts align with the truth of your infinite nature, reality shifts to mirror this expanded awareness. The power to transcend these self-imposed boundaries lies in understanding that you are not merely a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences, but rather a spiritual being temporarily expressing through physical form. This recognition opens doorways to possibilities that your current perspective might dismiss as impossible. As you turn these pages, you step into a stream of knowledge that has transformed countless lives throughout the ages. This wisdom does not add anything new to who you are. It simply removes the veils that have hidden your true nature from view. Through this unveiling, you will discover that what you seek has always resided within you, waiting for this moment of recognition. Part 1. Awakening to your infinite potential. Chapter 1. Breaking the chains of belief. In a bustling office building, a woman named Sarah sat at her desk, surrounded by stacks of papers and unfulfilled dreams. Each day she watched others pursue their passions, while she remained tethered to a position that drained her spirit. The walls of her cubicle seemed to mirror the boundaries she had built around her potential, convinced that her desire to become an artist was merely a foolish fantasy. One morning, seeking refuge from her daily routine, she visited a small cafe near her office. As she waited for her order, she overheard the barista speaking with another customer about their journey. 3 years ago, I was serving coffee, dreaming of becoming a chef, the barista shared. I had never even worked in a professional kitchen. But I started small, cooking for friends, taking weekend classes, practicing in my tiny apartment. Now I'm here during the day, but at night I'm the sous chef at La Maison downtown. In that moment, something shifted within Sarah. The barriers she had accepted as absolute truth began to waver, like mirages in the desert heat. You see, limiting beliefs are not carved in stone. They are thoughts repeated so often that they appear solid. These self-imposed boundaries become the invisible architecture of your life, defining what you believe is possible. Yet, like clouds passing across the sun, they only appear to dim your light. They cannot extinguish it. Consider Thomas, who carried the weight of failed relationships like a shield against future connections. "I'm just not good at relationships," he would say, wearing this belief like a familiar coat. One evening, as he shared his story with a friend, she listened with the patience of a sage. "Have you noticed," she asked, "that you withdraw whenever someone shows genuine interest? You're not bad at relationships, you're protecting yourself from an old wound." Her words pierced the veil of his self-perception, revealing how his belief had orchestrated the very outcomes he feared. The pattern that seemed to confirm his limitation was, in truth, its source. These stories reflect a universal truth. Your beliefs shape the boundaries of your experience. They act as filters through which you perceive what is possible, coloring every opportunity and interaction with their tint. To break free from these self-imposed constraints, I offer you this transformative practice. Take a moment now to identify one area of your life where you feel confined by invisible walls. Perhaps it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth. Write this limitation at the top of a blank page. Then begin collecting stories from friends, books, or observations of individuals who have transcended similar barriers. Let each example serve as a crack in the foundation of your limiting belief, allowing new light to shine through. As you gather these stories, you'll discover that what appears impossible is often simply unprecedented in your experience. Chapter 2. Beliefs. In the heart of a bustling city, a young architect named Maya stood before her drafting table, her hands trembling slightly as she sketched the first lines of what would become her inaugural solo project. The weight of expectations pressed upon her shoulders as she drew safe, conventional forms, the kind that wouldn't invite criticism or risk failure. As she worked, her mentor, an architect whose designs had transformed skylines across continents, observed her work in silence. After several minutes, he placed a blank sheet before her. "Now," he said, "draw what you see in your dreams, not what you think others expect." Maya hesitated, then began again. This time her strokes flowed with confidence as she released the vision she had kept hidden, a building that seemed to dance with light and shadow, its form challenging the very notion of what architecture could be. In that moment she understood that her initial limitations existed only in her mind. You see, your beliefs are the invisible architects of your reality. Like Maya, you may find yourself constrained not by external limitations, but by the boundaries of your own expectations. The world you experience is shaped first in the workshop of your mind, then manifested in the physical realm. This truth was powerfully illustrated in the story of Marcus, a small business owner facing financial uncertainty. When his company first encountered difficulties, his mind fixated on images of bankruptcy and failure. Each morning he would review his accounts with dread, seeing only impending doom in the numbers before him. Then one sleepless night he began to question these thoughts. Instead of dwelling on potential failure, he started focusing on opportunities hidden within the challenge. Where he once saw insurmountable obstacles, he began to recognize possibilities for innovation. His shift in perspective led him to discover new markets and restructure his business model. Within months, his company not only survived, but thrived, expanding beyond his original vision. The transformation in Marcus's business began not with external changes, but with an internal shift in his beliefs about what was possible. His story reveals how your perception shapes not just your interpretation of reality, but reality itself. Now take this moment to engage in a transformative practice. Visualize a goal that matters deeply to you. On a blank page, write down 3 beliefs that currently influence your approach to achieving this goal. Perhaps you believe success requires decades of experience, or that your background limits your possibilities. Mark each belief that restricts rather than empowers you. These are the beliefs awaiting transformation, the walls ready to become windows. Chapter 3. The Origins of Limitation. In a quiet classroom after school, Michael stared at another failed math test. The red marks scattered across the page like wounds. His shoulders slumped as he muttered the words that had become his shield. "I'm just bad at math." These words echoed the story he had told himself since his first struggle with numbers years ago. But Ms. Chen, his new mathematics teacher, saw something different. Instead of accepting his self-judgment, she pulled up a chair beside him. "Let me show you how I see these equations," she said, taking out a blank sheet of paper. Rather than focusing on abstract numbers, she drew pictures, connecting mathematical concepts to Michael's passion for basketball. Angles became shooting trajectories, percentages transformed into scoring statistics. As the equations took on new meaning, something shifted in Michael's understanding. Over the following weeks, his grades began to rise, not because he had suddenly gained new abilities, but because he had shed an old story. His belief in his mathematical inadequacy had been the true barrier, not any inherent limitation. You see, limiting beliefs take root in your mind, like seeds planted in fertile soil. They grow from various sources: family expectations, society's judgments, or the sting of past disappointments. Each time you affirm these beliefs, you water these seeds, allowing them to flourish and overshadow your true potential. This truth became evident in the story of Sarah, whose dream of opening her own wellness center remained dormant for years. Her parents, having weathered financial hardships in their own business ventures, had instilled in her a deep fear of entrepreneurial risk. Better to have a stable job, they would say, than risk everything on a dream. Their words became the lens through which she viewed every business opportunity. Yet one day, while helping a friend organize a community wellness event, she witnessed the impact of her knowledge and passion. The success of this small initiative challenged the narrative she had inherited. Despite her parents' well-meaning warnings, Sarah began to question whether their experience had to define her future. She started small, offering workshops while maintaining her day job. As her client base grew, so did her confidence. Within a year, she had opened her wellness center, proving that her parents' fears, while valid for their time and circumstance, need not dictate her path. For your practice, take a moment now to identify one recurring belief that limits your potential. Write it down, then trace its origins. When did this belief first take root? Whose voice first spoke these words of limitation? Examine this belief not as an absolute truth, but as a story that was once accepted. Question its validity in your present reality. Does it serve your growth, or does it merely echo past fears and outdated circumstances? Chapter 4. The Mirror of the Mind. In the halls of a corporate office, Emma's heart raced at the mere thought of presenting to her colleagues. For years, she had crafted excuses to avoid speaking before groups, convinced that her words would fall flat, that her presence would fade like mist before their eyes. "I'm not engaging enough," she would whisper to herself, declining opportunities that could have lifted her career to new heights. Until one morning when illness left her team without a presenter for a crucial client meeting. With no alternative, Emma stepped forward. As she began to speak, something remarkable unfolded. The client leaned in, engaged by her authentic passion for the project. Questions flowed, and Emma found herself responding with natural expertise. In that moment, the image she held of herself shattered, revealing a truth that had always existed beneath her fears. And you see, the mind operates like a mirror, reflecting back the beliefs you hold most deeply. When you gaze into this mirror with doubt, it shows you evidence of your limitations. Yet when you adjust your vision, aligning it with truth rather than fear, reality shifts to match this new perspective. This wisdom reveals itself in the tale of Marcus, a struggling photographer whose early works lacked the clarity he envisioned. His mentor handed him a simple lens, showing him how subtle adjustments could transform a blurry image into one of striking clarity. The lens, his mentor explained, merely reveals what was always there. It is your focus that shapes what others see. Day after day, Marcus practiced with his lenses, learning that the sharpest images emerged not from forcing clarity, but from finding the natural point where everything aligned. This physical practice became a metaphor for his inner journey, teaching him that perception, like photography, requires proper focus to reveal truth. Just as Marcus learned to adjust his lens, you possess the power to refine your inner vision. The practice that unveils this truth is both simple and profound. Stand before a mirror, meeting your own gaze with gentle determination. Speak aloud one empowering belief about yourself, not as a wish, but as a present reality. Notice how your body responds, how your expression shifts, how the very air around you seems to change with these words of power. This practice serves as your lens adjustment, bringing into focus the truth that has always existed within you. Watch how your reflection transforms as you align with this deeper knowing. The mirror becomes not just a surface showing your physical form, but a gateway to recognizing your inherent power. Number 5, the power of awareness. In the bustling heart of a city where time seemed to flow like a rushing river, there lived a merchant named Thomas. Each morning he would surge through the streets, his mind fixed on deadlines and destinations, blind to the life unfolding around him. His thoughts echoed with an endless chorus of must-do and running late, drowning out the whispers of the present moment. Yet fate, in its infinite wisdom, orchestrated a simple disruption in his routine. One autumn morning, a construction detour forced Thomas to take an unfamiliar path. As he rounded a corner, the sweet notes of a violin pierced through his mental fog. Despite his instinct to hurry past, something in the melody held him still. The musician, an elderly man with kind eyes, drew his bow across the strings with such grace that time itself seemed to pause. In that moment, Thomas realized he had been moving so quickly through life that he had forgotten how to truly see it. The music awakened something within him, an awareness that had long lay dormant. You too may recognize this pattern in your own life. When you move through your days caught in the current of endless tasks, your mind becomes clouded to the deeper truths that surround you. These limiting beliefs that shape your reality often hide in plain sight, masked by the rush of daily existence. Let us examine the wisdom found in Sarah's story. A mother of 3 young children, she found herself responding to their needs with increasing frustration. "I don't have time for this," became her daily mantra, until one evening, while washing dishes, she noticed her reflection in the window. In that moment of clarity, she saw how her automated responses stemmed from beliefs about scarcity, of time, of patience, of energy. With this awareness, Sarah began to pause before reacting. She discovered that by creating small spaces of consciousness between event and response, new possibilities emerged. Her belief in scarcity gradually transformed into an understanding of abundance. To unveil the beliefs that shape your own reality, practice this ancient technique of mindful observation. Choose one thought that frequently visits your mind. Perhaps it whispers, "I don't have enough time," or "This always happens to me." For 3 days, whenever this thought appears, pause to notice its emotional texture. Does it carry the weight of anxiety, the sharp edge of frustration, the heaviness of resignation? Record these observations without judgment, as a scientist might study the patterns of stars. This practice will reveal the hidden beliefs that color your perception, allowing you to choose which ones serve your highest good. Chapter 6: The Whisper of Possibility. In the heart of every soul lies a whispered truth, a calling that echoes from the deepest chambers of being. Such was the case with Maria, whose hands held the memory of her grandmother's recipes and whose heart carried dreams of creating a sanctuary of sweetness and warmth. Yet each morning she found herself behind a desk, surrounded by spreadsheets instead of mixing bowls, telling herself that dreams were luxuries she couldn't afford. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, works through unexpected channels. For Maria, it spoke through Anna, a friend who saw the light in her eyes whenever she shared her homemade cookies at office gatherings. "The farmer's market needs vendors," Anna mentioned one day, sliding a flyer across Maria's desk. "Start small, test the waters." That simple suggestion cracked open the door of possibility. With trembling hands but determined spirit, Maria filled out the vendor application. Her first market day arrived with dawn's earliest light, and as the morning sun touched her modest display of cookies, something magical transpired. Each smile, each satisfied customer, each request for her business card revealed that her dream wasn't an impossible fantasy. It was a seed waiting for the courage to be planted. You too carry such seeds within your heart. These dreams that visit you in quiet moments are not mere flights of fancy. They are messages from your higher self, guiding you toward your true path. Consider Thomas, who discovered an old guitar in his attic while cleaning. As a child, music had been his sanctuary, but somewhere along the path to adulthood, he had set it aside for more practical pursuits. Running his fingers along the dusty strings awakened memories of joy, of freedom, of pure expression. He began playing again just a few minutes each evening. Those moments expanded, becoming an hour, then 2. Soon he found himself performing at small gatherings, not for fame or fortune, but for the pure joy of sharing his gift with others. These stories mirror an eternal truth. Your deepest desires are not random wishes, but divine guidance pointing toward your authentic path. The universe speaks through your passions, your interests, your moments of inexplicable joy. Now take this ancient practice passed down through generations of wisdom seekers. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to carry away the weight of doubt and practicality. On a clean sheet of paper, write down one dream you've kept hidden, even from yourself. Let the words flow without judgment or analysis. Below this dream, inscribe 3 small steps you could take toward it. Actions so simple they almost seem insignificant. Perhaps it's visiting a store that sells supplies for your craft, or spending 15 minutes researching classes in your area of interest, or simply having a conversation with someone who shares your passion. These tiny seeds of action, when planted with intention and nurtured with faith, will grow into the mighty oak of your destiny. Remember, mighty rivers begin as small springs, and great journeys start with a single step. The universe responds not to the size of your action, but to the magnitude of your commitment to walk the path that calls to your soul. Chapter 7. Shattering the Illusion of Fear. In the shadows of uncertainty dwelt a man named James, whose spirit yearned for expansion while his mind clung to familiar shores. A promising position awaited him in a distant city, one that aligned perfectly with his talents and aspirations. Yet the thought of uprooting his life paralyzed him with visions of failure and isolation. During a chance encounter at his local coffee shop, James met Michael, a stranger whose warm smile invited conversation. As they talked, Michael shared his own tale of transformation, how 5 years prior he had left everything familiar to pursue an opportunity across the country. "I imagined every possible disaster," Michael recalled, his eyes twinkling. "I pictured myself alone, unsuccessful, lost in an unfamiliar place. But reality proved far kinder than my fears. The challenges I faced weren't the ones I'd imagined, and the rewards far exceeded my expectations." You see, the mind is a master storyteller, weaving elaborate tales of what might go wrong. These stories feel real because they tap into your deepest uncertainties, yet they remain nothing more than shadows cast by the light of possibility. Your fears are not prophecies. They are simply stories you tell yourself. Consider Sarah, a gifted student who almost declined her dream university because she feared she wouldn't measure up to her peers. The thought of failure haunted her nights, until one morning she realized that by allowing fear to guide her choice, she had already chosen failure. With trembling courage, she accepted the admission offer. Not only did Sarah discover she could keep pace with her classmates, but her unique perspective enriched classroom discussions. The very qualities she feared would mark her as an outsider became the foundation of deep friendships with like-minded souls. Within you resides the same power to transmute fear into faith. Take up your pen now and engage in this transformative practice passed down through ages of wisdom. On a blank page, write down one fear that holds you back. Beneath it, describe in detail the worst outcome you imagine. Now pause and breathe deeply. On the same page, list 3 positive outcomes that could emerge from facing this fear. Let your imagination soar toward possibility rather than dwelling in the shadows of doubt. This simple act of reframing opens channels of energy long blocked by fear, allowing new possibilities to flow into your life. Remember, fear is but a messenger pointing toward the very experiences that will lead to your growth. Like a compass needle trembling toward true north, it reveals the direction of your deepest transformation. By acknowledging its presence while choosing to focus on potential rather than peril, you reclaim your power to shape your destiny. This ancient truth has guided countless souls before you, that within every fear lies a hidden invitation to expand beyond your current limitations and step into a greater version of yourself. Chapter 8. The Infinite Self. In a small town lived a woman named Anna who had always dismissed herself with the words, "I'm just not creative." These words formed a wall between her and countless possibilities, becoming the story she told herself each time opportunity knocked. One autumn evening, while helping her niece with an art project, Anna found herself drawn to the watercolors spread across the table. As her niece chattered happily about her drawing, Anna absently picked up a brush and began adding colors to the corner of a spare piece of paper. Time seemed to stop as she watched the colors blend and flow, creating unexpected patterns that sparked something deep within her soul. You possess this same infinite potential that Anna discovered. The stories you tell about yourself are not carved in stone. They are but temporary inscriptions waiting to be rewritten. Each limitation you accept as truth is merely a chapter that can be revised. The power to reshape your narrative lies in recognizing that your current story is simply one interpretation of your experiences. When you understand this truth, you hold the pen that writes your next chapter. Consider Thomas, who carried the weight of a failed business venture like a scarlet letter. "I'm a failure," became his daily mantra until a chance conversation shifted his perspective. A successful entrepreneur shared how his own failures had been stepping stones to greater understanding. This simple reframe transformed Thomas's story from one of shame to one of growth. Each setback taught me something essential. Thomas later reflected, "What I thought was failure was actually preparation for something greater." By rewriting his story, he opened himself to new ventures that would have remained hidden behind the veil of his old narrative. Your own story awaits revision. Take this ancient practice, passed down through generations of wisdom seekers. Choose one phrase you use to describe yourself that feels limiting. Perhaps it's, "I'm not good with money," or "I always struggle with relationships." Write this phrase at the top of a blank page. Now begin to craft a new narrative. Instead of, "I'm not creative," write, "I am discovering new forms of expression every day." Rather than, "I always fail," write, "Each experience brings me closer to mastery." This is not mere positive thinking. It is the recognition of a deeper truth about your nature, one that has been whispered through the corridors of time by those who understood the sacred laws of creation. Just as a sculptor sees the figure waiting within the marble, seeing past the rough exterior to the masterpiece within, you must learn to see the potential waiting within your current circumstances. Every situation, every challenge, contains within it the seed of transformation, waiting for your conscious recognition to bring it forth into being. Chapter 9. Opening the Door to Change. Through a dale tucked amid weathered peaks stood a house that had sheltered generations. The Martinez family lived within its weathered walls, their daily routines shaped by familiar creaks and worn pathways. Though the kitchen cabinets hung askew and the floors bore deep scratches from years of use, they hesitated to make changes, fearing the disruption that renovation would bring. Each morning, Maria Martinez would squeeze past the broken drawer that jutted into the narrow kitchen passage, while her husband David navigated around the awkward placement of their living room furniture, a layout inherited from previous owners. Their children complained about sharing a cramped bedroom, yet the family remained frozen in the comfort of the familiar. You see in their story a reflection of your own resistance to change. The known discomfort often feels safer than the unknown possibility of something better. Yet, just as a seed must break through its shell to reach towards sunlight, growth demands transformation. When winter storms damaged their roof, the Martinez family faced a choice: patch the problem temporarily or embrace comprehensive renovation. Choosing courage over comfort, they began the process of renewal. As walls came down and spaces opened up, they discovered something extraordinary. Not just a better living space, but a metaphor for life's endless potential for renewal. The universe speaks through such moments, revealing eternal truths about the nature of transformation. Just as the Martinez family's home evolved to support their true needs, your life seeks to align with your highest purpose through constant renewal. Consider Sarah, who spent 15 years in corporate finance, each day dimming her spirit's light a little more. The thought of change paralyzed her with fear until she began taking evening classes in therapeutic massage. The discomfort of beginning anew, of being a novice in her 40s, tested her resolve. Yet with each class, each practice session, she felt more alive. The hardest part wasn't learning new skills, she would later say, but letting go of who I thought I was supposed to be. Within a year, she had transitioned to a career that nourished her soul instead of merely paying her bills. To embrace your own transformation, practice this ancient ritual of renewal. Take a quiet moment at sunrise or sunset, times when the world itself demonstrates the beauty of transition. Write down one area of your life calling for change. Perhaps it's your living space, your daily routines, or your professional path. Beneath this, inscribe 3 gateways to begin this transformation. These need not be grand gestures. Remember that even mighty rivers begin as small springs. This exercise serves as your compass, pointing toward the path of growth that awaits. Like an ancient map revealing hidden treasures, it illuminates the way forward through life's sacred journey. For in embracing change, you align with the universe's eternal dance of transformation, that same divine rhythm that turns seeds into flowers and stars into cosmic light. When you surrender to this natural flow of evolution, you become one with the infinite wisdom that has guided seekers throughout the ages. Chapter 10: The First Steps to Freedom. In the heart of a bustling city lived a man named Thomas, whose morning routine included watching runners glide past his apartment window. Each day he admired their dedication while telling himself, "I could never do that." Years of self-doubt had woven a web of impossibility around the idea of running a marathon. Yet one autumn morning, something shifted within him. Instead of watching from his window, Thomas laced up an old pair of sneakers and stepped outside. His first run lasted barely 5 minutes before his breath grew heavy and his legs ached. But in those 5 minutes, a seed was planted. You possess this same capacity for transformation. The journey of 1,000 miles unfolds through single steps, each one dissolving the illusion of limitation. Thomas began setting his alarm 15 minutes earlier each day. Some mornings, he ran for only a block. Other days, he managed 2. Gradually, his body strengthened, and more importantly, his mind expanded. The voice that once whispered impossible grew quieter with each milestone. Within the infinite field of possibility, your limiting beliefs are like clouds passing across the sun, temporary shadows that cannot diminish your true radiance. Picture Anna, whose cluttered home mirrored her cluttered mind. Each corner overflowed with items she couldn't release, each representing a belief about scarcity or past pain. One day, she chose to clear a single drawer. This small act created a ripple of clarity that spread through her home and consciousness. As I removed each item, she shared, I felt the weight of old stories lifting from my shoulders. Over weeks, she transformed her space drawer by drawer, shelf by shelf. With each item released, her mind grew lighter, clearer, more focused on possibility rather than limitation. The universe responds to action, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. Each step you take toward freedom, each conscious choice to release what no longer serves you, creates a powerful momentum that ripples through the fabric of creation. As you move forward with intention, you draw forth more opportunities for growth, more chances to expand into your true potential. The divine law of motion ensures that once you begin this sacred journey of transformation, the universe itself conspires to light your path forward. Now, embrace this ancient practice of transformation. In the quiet of this moment, identify one goal that calls to your spirit. Perhaps it's writing a book, learning an instrument, or healing a relationship. On a piece of paper, write this goal at the top. Below it, inscribe one small action you can take today, not tomorrow, not someday, that moves you toward this vision. Let this action be so simple it seems almost insignificant. Remember, the mightiest trees grow from tiny seeds. This step, however small, becomes your bridge from limitation to possibility. Take it now, knowing that within you lies the power to transform your world through consistent, mindful action. Part 2. Rewiring Beliefs and Expanding Awareness. Chapter 11. The Alchemy of Belief. In a small classroom at the edge of town, Ms. Chen observed James slumping over another failed test. His eyes held the familiar shadow of defeat, a shadow you may recognize in your own moments of doubt. Yet within Ms. Chen burned the ancient wisdom that has guided teachers through ages, the understanding that belief shapes reality. Each mistake shows us where to grow stronger, she told James, placing a blank notebook before him. Together, they began recording small victories, a solved equation, a completed homework assignment, a moment of clarity. Day by day, James's certainty in his inability began to crack, like ice melting in spring sunlight. You too stand at this threshold of transformation. Just as the alchemists of old knew the secret of transmutation lay not in the metal, but in the mind that perceived it. Your limiting beliefs await their own transformation into golden truths. Sarah's story mirrors this wisdom. For years, she carried the weight of financial uncertainty, believing herself incapable of managing money. "I'll always be bad with numbers," she would say, as bills piled up unopened on her desk. Yet something stirred within her, a whisper of possibility. She began with one simple act, checking her bank balance each morning. This small ritual, like a pebble dropped in still water, created ripples of awareness. Soon she found herself tracking expenses, then creating a basic budget. Each step, however modest, dissolved another layer of her limiting belief. The numbers didn't change, Sarah later revealed, but my relationship with them did. Within 18 months, she had built an emergency fund and started investing, achievements her former self would have dismissed as impossible. Now take this sacred practice passed down through generations of wisdom seekers. On a blank page, write one belief that has cast shadows across your path. Beneath it, list 3 pieces of evidence that challenge this belief, moments when you've exceeded your own expectations, times when others have succeeded despite similar doubts, or instances when your capabilities surprised you. Finally, craft a new belief that honors your true potential. Let it resonate with the deeper truth you carry within. Place this transformed belief where you'll see it daily, allowing its power to reshape your reality, just as James and Sarah reshaped theirs. Chapter 12. The Subconscious Blueprint. In a hamlet tucked between weathered peaks lived a carpenter named Thomas, whose hands held the wisdom of generations. Each morning he would rise before dawn, gathering his tools with practiced reverence. Yet beneath his skilled exterior lay an unseen flaw, much like the hidden patterns that shape your own reality. As Thomas built what was to be his masterpiece, a home for a young family, he failed to notice the subtle tilt in his foundation. The walls rose proud and strong. The windows caught the light just so, but something whispered of imbalance. Like your own subconscious mind, the foundation's flaw remained invisible, yet influenced everything built upon it. One stormy night, a crack appeared. Small at first, but its message was clear. Thomas traced its path downward, discovering the truth that had been there all along. In that moment of revelation, he understood that true strength begins with honest examination. Your subconscious mind operates much like Thomas's foundation. It supports every thought, every action, every creation in your life. When beliefs buried deep within misalign with your desires, they create unseen resistance, just as Thomas's tilted foundation threatened his beautiful craftsmanship. Through patient work and unwavering attention, Thomas rebuilt the foundation, this time ensuring each stone lay true. The house transformed, becoming not just beautiful, but unshakable. Your own transformation awaits this same careful attention to what lies beneath. Consider Maria, a runner preparing for the most important race of her life. Each evening before sleep, she would close her eyes and run the race in her mind. She felt the strength in her legs, the rhythm of her breath, the surge of power as she crossed the finish line victorious. In her mind's eye, she had won the race countless times before her feet ever touched the starting line. When race day arrived, Maria's body simply followed the path her subconscious mind had already traveled. She moved with the certainty of one who had already succeeded, for in the depths of her mind, she had. Now find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine a screen before you, like a mirror of your mind. On this screen, see your current limiting belief written in sand. Watch as a gentle wave washes it away, leaving the surface smooth and ready for new truth. Now see your new empowering belief emerging, written not in sand but carved in stone. Feel its strength, its permanence. Visualize how this new foundation transforms your actions, your choices, your results. See yourself moving through life with this new truth supporting your every step. Let this image sink deeply into your consciousness, like water absorbed by thirsty soil. This ancient practice of visualization speaks directly to your subconscious mind, preparing the ground for new growth, just as Thomas prepared his foundation and Maria prepared for her victory. Chapter 13. The Power of Repetition. In a small village where time flowed like honey, there lived a musician named Kai. Each dawn, while others slept, he would sit before his instrument playing the same melody over and over. The notes, at first hesitant and uncertain, gradually became extensions of his very being. Through sun and storm, through doubt and fatigue, Kai persisted. What began as conscious effort transformed into natural expression, until his fingers found their way without thought, like water flowing downstream. His dedication reveals a universal truth about the nature of transformation. Your mind operates by these same principles of repetition and persistence. Each thought you think, each belief you hold, carves a path in your consciousness. Like a stream cutting through stone, repeated thoughts create deep channels that guide your perceptions and actions. These neural pathways, once established, become your default way of being. When you consciously choose to create new pathways through repeated positive thoughts and actions, you reshape the very landscape of your mind. In the village's community garden, an elderly woman named Sophia tended her plot daily. Others questioned her dedication when weeks passed without visible growth. Yet Sophia understood the wisdom of patience and persistence. She continued watering her seeds, speaking to them softly, believing in their potential. "The seeds cannot help but grow," she would say, "for that is their nature when given consistent care." Just as her garden eventually burst forth with abundance, your mind will flourish under the steady nurturing of positive beliefs. The ancient ones knew this truth. Repetition is the mother of mastery. Like Kai with his instrument and Sophia with her garden, you hold the power to cultivate new patterns of thought through conscious, consistent practice. Choose one empowering belief that you wish to integrate into your consciousness. Write it clearly on paper, ensuring it resonates with your deepest truth. Each morning, find a quiet space and speak this belief aloud for 5 minutes. Feel its vibration in your body, its truth in your heart. For 7 days, maintain this practice without fail. Notice how the words begin to feel more natural, how your resistance softens, how your perspective shifts. Like Sophia's seeds, these new thoughts will take root and grow, transforming your inner landscape. Record any changes you observe in your thoughts, feelings, or actions during this week. Watch as your new belief begins to flow as naturally as Kai's music, becoming part of your essential nature. Chapter 14, Symbols of Transformation. In the heart of an ancient city, a young artist named Maya sat before an empty canvas, her brushes untouched. Day after day, she waited for inspiration that seemed forever lost in shadow. Her studio, once alive with color and movement, had grown still and silent. One morning, as the first light pierced through her window, a beam illuminated an old medallion hanging on her wall, a simple rising sun etched in gold. In that moment, something stirred within her soul. The symbol spoke of renewal, of endless possibilities born with each dawn. Maya began painting, and from her brush flowed images she had never before imagined. You too possess the power to harness symbols as anchors for transformation. Throughout history, the wise have understood that visual representations serve as bridges between the seen and unseen realms, between intention and manifestation. A symbol chosen with purpose becomes a focal point for your creative force, a reminder of the truth you seek to embody. Consider how the ancient temples adorned their walls with sacred geometry, how kingdoms chose emblems to represent their highest ideals. These were not mere decorations, but tools for transformation, physical reminders of spiritual truths. In the bustling streets of modern life walked Sarah, who wore a silver bracelet etched with waves. Each time the metal caught the light, she remembered her commitment to flow gracefully through life's challenges. The bracelet became more than jewelry. It transformed into a constant companion in her journey of growth. When the waves of doubt threatened to overwhelm her, Sarah would touch her bracelet, and in that simple gesture, she reconnected with her inner strength. The symbol became a bridge between her current self and the person she was becoming. Your own transformation can be anchored in the physical world through such symbols. Whether a rising sun like Maya's or ocean waves like Sarah's, these representations serve as touchstones, drawing you back to your highest intentions. Select a symbol that resonates with your journey of transformation. This might be an image, an object, or a word that captures the essence of the change you seek. Place this symbol where you will encounter it throughout your day, perhaps as jewelry you wear, an image on your desk, or a stone in your pocket. As you move through your day, let this symbol serve as a reminder of your commitment to growth. When your eyes fall upon it, pause briefly to connect with the truth it represents. Feel how this simple act reinforces your path of transformation, creating a bridge between the visible and invisible realms of change. Chapter 15, Emotional Resonance. In a sunlit kitchen, a mother stood before her 4-year-old child in the midst of an emotional storm. The little one's cries echoed off the walls as toys scattered across the floor. Time seemed to pause as the mother closed her eyes, remembering the wisdom passed down from her grandmother. Your heart holds the key to transformation. Instead of meeting chaos with chaos, she took a deep breath. With each inhale, she allowed peace to fill her being. With each exhale, she released judgment and resistance. As her energy shifted, something remarkable occurred. Her child's cries began to soften, the storm gradually subsiding into gentle rain. Within this sacred dance between mother and child lies a fundamental truth. Your emotions shape the reality you experience. Like a powerful current flowing through the universe, emotional energy amplifies your beliefs, creating ripples that touch every aspect of your life. The law of attraction responds not only to your thoughts but to the feelings that accompany them. When you align your emotional state with your desired beliefs, you create a magnetic force that draws forth corresponding experiences. Picture James, a struggling actor preparing for the role of a lifetime. Night after night he sat alone in his apartment, not merely memorizing lines, but allowing himself to feel the character's joy, pain, and triumph. As he aligned his emotional energy with the character's truth, something magical happened. His performance transcended mere acting, becoming a channel for authentic expression. The audience didn't just watch James perform, they experienced the character's journey as their own. Through emotional alignment, he transformed words on a page into living truth. Your emotions are not obstacles to overcome, but allies in your journey of transformation. When you consciously direct your emotional energy toward your new beliefs, you accelerate their integration into your experience and find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed for 3 minutes. Choose one new belief you wish to embody. Close your eyes and bring this belief into your awareness. Now, deliberately generate emotions that align with this truth, perhaps joy, gratitude, or peaceful certainty. Feel these emotions filling your body, as if your new belief were already manifest. Let this emotional energy flow through you, amplifying your intention. Practice this alignment whenever you notice your emotional state shifting throughout the day. Through this practice, you transform your emotional landscape into fertile soil, where new beliefs can take root and flourish. Chapter 16, The Vibrational Shift. In the soft light of dawn, a master violinist sat before her instrument, closing her eyes as she listened for the perfect pitch. With each gentle turn of the tuning peg, she brought the strings closer to harmony. Only when every note rang true did she begin to play, creating music that seemed to flow from the heavens themselves. Like this musician, you possess the innate ability to tune your energy to higher frequencies. When your personal vibration aligns with the universal forces of creation, limiting beliefs naturally dissolve, unable to persist in the presence of elevated consciousness. Through countless generations, wise ones have understood that your energetic frequency determines what you attract into your life. Just as a radio must be precisely tuned to receive a specific station, your energy field must resonate with the frequency of your desires. Gratitude serves as one of the most powerful tools for raising your vibration. When you cultivate genuine appreciation, you align with the abundance of the universe. Joy becomes your natural state, and mindfulness allows you to maintain this elevated frequency throughout your daily experiences. In a small mountain village, a group of elders gathered each morning to meditate together. As they sat in silence, focusing on peace and gratitude, something remarkable began to occur. The entire community started to transform. Conflicts resolved more easily, creativity flourished, and a sense of harmony pervaded the village. Their collective high vibrational energy created ripples that touched everyone who passed through their valley. This ancient truth remains alive today. When you raise your frequency through conscious practice, you not only transform your own experience, but influence the world around you. Like a tuning fork that causes nearby instruments to resonate at the same frequency, your elevated energy affects those in your presence. The practice of vibrational alignment. Each morning, take a quiet moment with your journal. Write 3 specific things for which you feel genuine gratitude. Rather than simply listing items, immerse yourself in the emotions these blessings evoke. Feel the warmth of appreciation flowing through your body as you write. For example, I am grateful for the morning sunlight streaming through my window, filling me with energy and hope. I appreciate the smile from a stranger today, reminding me of our shared humanity. I give thanks for the challenges that have shaped my strength. Let each entry become a meditation on thankfulness, allowing these positive emotions to raise your energetic frequency. Chapter 17. Dissolving Illusions. High in the mountains, a young woman spent countless days navigating an ancient stone maze. Year after year, she traced its winding paths, memorizing each turn and dead end. Her determination never wavered, yet the center remained elusive. One morning, exhausted from another failed attempt, she leaned against the outer wall and noticed handholds worn smooth by time. Following an impulse, she climbed to the top of the wall. From this vantage point, the entire labyrinth spread before her, and the path to its heart became clear. What had seemed an impossible puzzle from within revealed itself as a simple journey when viewed from above. The limitations that bind you often exist only within the perspective you've chosen. Like the maze walker, you move through life accepting barriers as absolute truths, forgetting that a shift in viewpoint might reveal an entirely different reality. When you question your assumptions, the walls of limitation begin to crumble. Each belief that holds you back invites examination. Is it truly an immovable obstacle, or merely a shadow cast by your current perspective? In a bustling city, a businessman prided himself on his rational mind and dismissed all things spiritual as foolishness. Yet his life felt empty despite his success, and his skepticism had become its own prison. One day, challenged by a friend, he agreed to test a simple spiritual principle. For 30 days, he would act as if the universe supported his highest good. To his surprise, this shift in perspective transformed his experience. Opportunities appeared where he had seen none before. Relationships deepened. His rigid skepticism gave way to a broader understanding of reality. This transformation exemplifies a universal truth. Your beliefs shape the boundaries of your possible experience. By questioning what you've always accepted as true, you open doorways to new realities. The practice of perspective shifting. Take a moment now to identify one belief you've never questioned, perhaps about your capabilities, the nature of success, or what's possible in your life. Write this belief at the top of a blank page. Now imagine viewing this belief from 3 different angles, as if walking around a sculpture to see all its sides. For instance, if you believe I'm too old to start a new career, you might write, "This age brings wisdom and experience that could make me more successful in a new field." Many great achievements came from people who started late in life. Age is simply a number that has no bearing on my ability to learn and grow. Let each new perspective sit with you, feeling how it shifts your energy and opens new possibilities. Remember, the walls that seem to contain you may be nothing more than illusions waiting to dissolve in the light of expanded awareness. Chapter 18. The Freedom in Letting Go. In the foothills of an ancient mountain, a lone hiker stood gazing upward at the peak shrouded in morning mist. His backpack bulged with supplies, enough food for a week, multiple changes of clothes, books, and various tools he thought essential for the journey. As he began his ascent, each step became a struggle against the weight he carried. Halfway up the trail, exhausted and frustrated, he met an elder who had just descended from the summit. The elder smiled and said, "The mountain asks only that you bring yourself." Understanding dawned, and the hiker began removing items from his pack, keeping only water and basic necessities. Unburdened, he moved swiftly toward his goal. Just as the hiker discovered freedom in releasing his unnecessary load, you too carry beliefs that weigh heavily upon your spirit. These beliefs, that you must control every outcome, that you aren't worthy without certain achievements, that safety lies only in preparation, become burdens that slow your journey toward transformation. True power emerges not from accumulating more, but from letting go. When you release your grip on old patterns, you create space for new possibilities to emerge. Like empty hands ready to receive a gift, an unburdened mind opens to infinite potential. A successful business owner once insisted on personally reviewing every decision in her company. Her need for control had built the business, but now it was strangling its growth. One day, illness forced her to step back completely for a month. To her amazement, her team flourished in her absence, developing innovative solutions she had never considered. By releasing her tight hold on control, she allowed both her business and her employees to expand beyond her expectations. This wisdom speaks to a profound truth. Often what you perceive as necessary protection is actually a barrier to your evolution. The very beliefs you cling to for safety may be the chains holding you in place. Find a quiet space and take a blank piece of paper. Think deeply about one belief that has become a burden in your life. Perhaps it's the need to please everyone, the fear of failure, or the idea that you must struggle to succeed. Write this belief clearly on the paper. Hold the paper in your hands and feel the weight of this belief, how it has shaped your choices, limited your movements, affected your relationships. Now, slowly and deliberately, tear the paper into small pieces. As each piece falls away, envision this belief dissolving from your energy field, from your mind, from your life. Gather the pieces in your hands one final time. Release them into a wastebasket, knowing that as you do so, you are creating space for new, empowering truths to take root in your consciousness. Chapter 19. Aligning with Limitlessness. In a small workshop filled with discarded machine parts and scattered blueprints, a young inventor sat night after night, wrestling with an idea that burned in her mind. While others saw her attempts as failures, she understood each prototype brought her closer to breakthrough. One evening, as she adjusted the final component of her latest iteration, something shifted within her. Rather than forcing the pieces together, she allowed her hands to move with intuitive grace. In that moment of perfect alignment between vision, belief, and action, her device sprang to life, solving a problem that had baffled engineers for years. When you align your inner world with your outer actions, creation becomes effortless. Like a key sliding into its perfect lock, alignment opens doors that once seemed sealed. This state emerges when your thoughts, emotions, and actions flow in harmony toward a single purpose. Think of alignment as the invisible force that transforms struggle into flow. When your beliefs support your vision, when your emotions fuel your actions, and when your behavior mirrors your intentions, you enter a state of profound coherence. In this space, manifestation occurs naturally, just as a seed sprouts when given proper soil, water, and light. A professional dancer once shared how she discovered this truth through her art. During rehearsals, she would often fight against the music, counting beats and forcing movements. But one performance changed everything. Instead of trying to control each step, she surrendered to the melody, allowing it to move through her. In that moment of alignment, her dance transformed from mechanical execution into pure artistry. The audience witnessed not just movement, but magic. Your life follows this same principle. When you struggle against your natural rhythm, progress feels forced. But in alignment, even complex challenges resolve themselves with surprising ease. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the natural outcome of bringing all aspects of yourself into harmony. To experience this alignment in your own life, take a blank page and craft a statement of intent that brings together your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Begin by writing, "I align my belief that state your deep truth with my feeling of," describe the emotion, "and my commitment to specify the action." For example, "I align my belief that abundance flows naturally with my feeling of peaceful certainty and my commitment to taking inspired action each day." Speak this statement aloud, feeling how each element, belief, emotion, and action supports the others. Notice how this alignment creates a sense of wholeness, of rightness within you. Return to this practice whenever you feel disconnected from your path, using it as a compass to restore your natural state of flow. Chapter 20. The Turning Point. In the pre-dawn darkness, a marathon runner pushed through mile 20, her legs heavy with exhaustion. For months she had trained relentlessly, yet doubt whispered that she should quit. Then, as the sun began to rise, something remarkable occurred. Her breathing found a new rhythm, her muscles relaxed, and energy flooded her body. She had discovered her second wind, that mystical state where limitation dissolves into possibility. You too stand at this threshold of transformation. The journey of releasing limiting beliefs brings moments that mirror the runner's experience, when persistence suddenly yields to breakthrough, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. These breakthrough moments arrive not as dramatic revelations, but as subtle shifts in awareness. You might notice yourself responding differently to old triggers, or find that thoughts which once consumed you now pass like clouds. These changes mark the dissolution of old patterns and the emergence of new truths. Consider the tale of a chef who struggled to perfect a signature dish. For years, critics dismissed his creation, yet he continued refining it, trusting his vision. Each failure taught him something new about balance, texture, and timing. Then one evening, as he prepared the dish for the 100th time, everything aligned. His hands moved with unconscious wisdom, adjusting seasonings without measurement. That night, the same critics who had dismissed him discovered something extraordinary on their plates. His persistence had transformed not just the dish, but his relationship with creation itself. This moment awaits you as well. As you continue practicing these teachings, notice the subtle ways your inner landscape has already begun to shift. Perhaps you speak to yourself with greater kindness, or approach challenges with newfound curiosity. These changes, though they may seem small, reveal the deeper transformation taking place within you. Take a moment now to honor your journey. Find a quiet space and open your journal. Write down 3 specific ways you've noticed yourself changing since beginning this work. Perhaps you react differently to situations that once triggered fear. Maybe you've begun taking actions that once seemed beyond your capacity, or possibly you've noticed a new gentleness in your self-talk. Be precise in your observations. Instead of writing, "I feel better," note exactly how your experience has shifted. I now pause before responding to criticism, where before I would react immediately. This precision helps anchor your awareness of these profound changes. This practice serves as both celebration and confirmation of your growth. By acknowledging these shifts, you strengthen their presence in your life and prepare the ground for even deeper transformation. Part 3, Mastery of Limitlessness, Living Beyond Boundaries. Chapter 21, The Art of Embodiment. In the halls of an ancient school, a wise teacher gathered her students each morning. While others merely spoke of wisdom, she lived it in every gesture and word. When teaching patience, she met disruptions with unwavering calm. When sharing lessons of courage, she faced challenges openly, showing her students how to transform fear into strength. You now stand at the threshold where knowledge transforms into wisdom through living truth. The path of mastery requires more than understanding. It demands embodiment. When you fully integrate a belief into your being, it flows naturally through every action, creating ripples of transformation that touch all who cross your path. Within each person dwells the power to transmute abstract understanding into living truth. Just as a seed contains the blueprint of a mighty tree, your beliefs hold the pattern of your becoming. Yet this transformation occurs not through thought alone, but through consistent action aligned with inner knowing. Picture a musician who spent years mastering scales and techniques. At first, each note required conscious thought, each movement deliberate focus. Yet through dedication, the music began flowing through him effortlessly. His fingers found their way without thought, the instrument becoming an extension of his spirit. What began as practice evolved into pure expression, the embodiment of music itself. This same principle applies to every new belief you embrace. When you first choose to see yourself as capable and worthy, it may feel like learning a new instrument. Each positive thought requires conscious effort, yet through consistent practice, through living this truth in small ways each day, it becomes your natural state of being. To integrate this teaching into your life, pause now and select one empowering belief you wish to embody fully. Perhaps it's, "I am capable of creating positive change," or "I respond to challenges with wisdom and grace." Write this belief at the top of a blank page. Below it, identify 3 specific ways you can express this belief through action today. If your chosen belief relates to abundance, you might list sharing resources with others, expressing gratitude for what you have, and approaching work with enthusiasm. Make your actions concrete and achievable, creating clear pathways for your belief to flow into form. This practice bridges the gap between knowing and becoming, allowing your chosen belief to take root in the fertile soil of daily life. Through conscious embodiment, you transform abstract truth into living wisdom. Chapter 22, Accessing the Flow State. In a sunlit stadium, an athlete stepped onto the court, unaware this game would teach her about the mysteries of time. As she played, something extraordinary occurred. The ticking clock ceased to matter, the cheering crowd faded away, and she entered a realm where action flowed without thought. For 2 hours she moved with perfect precision, each decision arising spontaneously from deep within. Only when the final buzzer sounded did she return to ordinary awareness, amazed to discover she had played the finest game of her career. You possess this same capacity to transcend the ordinary and enter states of pure flow. When your beliefs, emotions, and actions align perfectly with your purpose, time loses its rigid nature. You enter a sacred space where effort dissolves into effortless action. This state emerges naturally when you release resistance and allow your inner wisdom to guide you. Like water finding its path downhill, your energy flows most powerfully when unobstructed by doubt or hesitation. In these moments, you access abilities beyond your usual limitations. Consider the artist who spent months struggling with a painting, trying to force inspiration through sheer will. One evening, she approached her canvas without expectation, simply allowing her brush to move as it wished. In that state of surrender, time seemed to pause. Colors flowed together in perfect harmony, and when she finally stepped back, she discovered she had created her masterpiece in what felt like minutes, but had been hours. This demonstrates a profound truth. Your highest potential manifests not through striving, but through allowing. When you align completely with what you're doing, resistance falls away. You enter a state where action flows from being rather than thinking. To experience this transformation yourself, choose an activity you deeply enjoy, perhaps writing, gardening, or playing music. Create a space free from distractions, setting aside your phone and other interruptions. Begin your chosen task with full presence, paying attention to how your energy shifts as you become immersed in the activity. Notice moments when time seems to flow differently, when effort gives way to ease. These are glimpses of your natural state of flow, available whenever you align fully with what you're doing. Record any insights about your experience, noting particularly when you felt most connected to the activity. Through this practice, you learn to recognize and cultivate states of flow, allowing your innate wisdom to express itself more freely in all areas of life. Chapter 23, The Power of Presence. In a world of constant digital connection, a successful executive found herself perpetually tethered to her phone, responding to emails late into the night. Her young son's voice had become background noise, competing with notification chimes and conference calls. One Friday, a power outage forced an unexpected digital detox. As hours passed without electricity, mother and son discovered a forgotten board game. In the soft glow of candlelight, time slowed. She noticed details she had missed, the way his eyes lit up when he laughed, the subtle changes in his expressions. Through this simple act of presence, their relationship transformed. You hold within you the power to experience life with such clarity and depth. Each moment contains infinite possibility, yet these gifts remain hidden when your attention scatters across countless distractions. True presence awakens you to the abundance that surrounds you always. The universe speaks in whispers, revealing pathways to your highest potential through subtle signs and synchronicities. When your mind quiets, these messages become clear. Like a lake settling after a storm, stillness reveals what lies beneath the surface. A photographer spent years chasing the perfect shot, rushing from location to location with expensive equipment. One morning, his camera malfunctioned during an important shoot. Forced to simply observe, he noticed how light painted shadows across the landscape, how wind moved through trees, how life unfolded in perfect rhythm. When his camera finally worked, he captured not just images but moments of pure beauty, all because he learned to see first and shoot second. This practice of presence dissolves the invisible barriers between you and your limitless nature. As you cultivate awareness, you begin to notice opportunities that were always there, waiting to be recognized. Find a comfortable position and allow your attention to rest fully in this moment. For 5 minutes, observe your surroundings with the freshness of a child discovering the world for the first time. Notice colors, textures, sounds, and sensations without labeling or judging them. When your mind wanders to past or future, gently return to the present moment. This simple practice awakens you to the infinite potential that exists here and now. Chapter 24, The Limitless Mindset. In the bustling streets of a tech district, a young founder named Sarah paced outside her office building. Her startup, once fueled by dreams of innovation, teetered on the edge of collapse. Investors had pulled out, leaving her with dwindling resources and a team looking to her for direction. As she walked, her eyes fell upon a street artist transforming a blank wall into a masterpiece. Where others saw constraints, the wall's texture, limited supplies, weather conditions, the artist saw a canvas of possibility. You possess this same power to transform your vision. The boundaries you perceive are merely invitations to expand beyond what seems possible. Like Sarah, who discovered that her company's financial constraints led to more creative solutions. You too can transmute limitations into launching points for growth. When you embrace curiosity over certainty, each obstacle becomes a doorway to innovation. Sarah began asking different questions. Instead of, "How can we survive with less?" she wondered, "What unique value can we offer because of our limitations?" This shift led her team to develop streamlined solutions that attracted a new wave of investors, more aligned with their vision. The universe responds to this expanded awareness, revealing pathways previously hidden from view. What appears as an ending often marks the beginning of something greater. Consider Marcus, a traveler whose carefully planned journey through Asia unraveled when storms canceled his flights. Rather than resist, he chose to explore the city where he was stranded. In the winding streets of an unexpected destination, he discovered local artisans whose crafts would later become the foundation of a thriving import business. His disrupted travel plans revealed an entirely new life path. Now, take 5 situations you view as limitations. Perhaps a job loss, a failed relationship, or a missed opportunity weighs heavy in your thoughts. For each circumstance, write down its current appearance as a limitation, then, allowing your perspective to expand, reframe each situation into an opportunity. See how a restricted budget might lead to innovative solutions. Notice how a delayed timeline could allow for deeper preparation. Observe how a closed door might direct you toward an even better path. Sit with each situation. Let your mind explore new angles, like light reflecting off a crystal's many facets. Write down the opportunities you discover, knowing that each limitation holds within it the seed of greater possibility. This practice awakens you to the abundance that surrounds you always, transforming what once appeared as barriers into bridges toward your highest potential. Chapter 25, Manifesting Without Limits. In a fertile valley nestled between ancient mountains, a farmer named Wei understood the deepest truth of creation. Each morning, as golden light spilled across his fields, he would carefully plant his seeds, tending the soil with practiced hands. Though his neighbors rushed to harvest early, or despaired when rain didn't fall on their schedule, Wei maintained his peaceful rhythm, knowing that nature held its own perfect timing. You, like Wei, stand at the threshold of creation. The seeds of your desires await planting in the fertile soil of possibility. Yet manifestation flows not from anxious effort, but from the sacred dance of action and surrender. The universal law of creation mirrors this natural cycle. Just as Wei prepared his soil and planted with care, you must first clarify your vision and take aligned action. But like the farmer, who knows not to dig up his seeds to check their progress, you must then release your attachment to how and when your desires will manifest. This wisdom reveals itself in the story of Isabella, who dreamed of creating a wellness sanctuary. Instead of forcing her vision into being through sheer will, she began by sitting quietly each morning, allowing the complete experience of her future sanctuary to unfold in her mind. She felt the peace of its gardens, heard the gentle music flowing through its halls, and experienced the joy of transformed lives. From this state of alignment, Isabella took inspired action. She studied healing arts, connected with like-minded individuals, and remained open to unexpected opportunities. When a historic building became available in an unlikely location, she recognized it as the perfect vessel for her vision, though it differed from her original plans. The universe responds not to desperate pushing, but to the magnetic pull of aligned energy. When you plant your desires in fertile soil and trust in the natural process of manifestation, You allow universal forces to arrange circumstances beyond your imagining. Now close your eyes and breathe deeply. Allow your awareness to expand into the reality where your deepest desires have already manifested. Experience this future as if it exists now. Notice the details, the colors, sounds, and textures. Feel the emotions flowing through your body. Let this future reality become so real that your current circumstances begin to feel like the dream. Maintain this state of awareness as you write down every detail of what you experienced. Then, from this elevated perspective, identify one action you can take today that aligns with this future reality. This step, however small it may seem, plants the seed of your vision in the fertile soil of the present moment. Like Wei tending his fields with patient devotion, trust that your aligned action, combined with surrender to divine timing, creates the perfect conditions for your desires to manifest. Chapter 26, Thriving in Uncertainty. In the depths of a raging sea, a seasoned sailor named Marcus faced towering waves that threatened to overwhelm his vessel. While less experienced crew members panicked, Marcus remained centered, his weathered hand steady on the helm. As lightning split the sky, he didn't fight against the storm's fury. Instead, he learned to dance with it, adjusting his sails to work with the wind rather than against it. You too navigate waters of uncertainty in your life. Like Marcus, you face moments when the familiar horizons disappear and the path ahead seems shrouded in darkness. Yet within this apparent chaos lies a profound truth. Uncertainty is not your enemy, but the very space where infinite possibilities are born. When you release your grip on the need for absolute certainty, you open yourself to the universe's guidance. Just as a ship must adjust its course with changing winds, your journey through life requires flexibility and trust in the deeper currents that guide you. Consider Sarah, a teacher who had perfected her methods over 15 years in the classroom. When sudden changes forced her to completely reimagine her approach to teaching, her initial response was resistance, yet as she opened herself to uncertainty, she discovered new ways to connect with her students that far surpassed her old methods. Her willingness to adapt revealed opportunities she could never have imagined in the comfort of her familiar routines. The universe speaks in the language of uncertainty. Each moment of not knowing carries within it seeds of transformation, waiting to bloom in the light of your acceptance. When you embrace uncertainty with curiosity rather than fear, you align yourself with the natural flow of creation. Ancient practice for embracing uncertainty. Find a quiet space and bring to mind one area of your life where uncertainty feels most present. On a blank page, write this uncertainty at the top. Now, with the wisdom of the sailor who reads the winds, list 3 ways you can approach this uncertainty with openness and flexibility. Perhaps you'll discover, like Marcus and Sarah, that what appeared as chaos was actually the universe's invitation to expand beyond your known horizons. Remember, the waters of uncertainty carry you not toward danger, but toward growth. Trust in their flow. Chapter 27. Expanding the Circle of Belief. In a small coastal town battered by economic hardship, Maria witnessed businesses closing and hope diminishing. Rather than accepting defeat, she gathered neighbors in her living room, sharing her unwavering belief that together they could revitalize their community. "Our struggles don't define us," she told them. "Our response to them does." What began as a simple meeting transformed into a movement. Maria's convictions sparked something in others. Where some saw empty storefronts, they began to envision possibilities. Her belief in abundance over scarcity spread through the community like ripples on still water. Within months, locals pooled resources to launch a weekly market, showcasing their talents and crafts. Empty shops became canvases for local artists. The town's spirit awakened not through external change, but through a collective shift in belief. You see, beliefs shape more than individual destinies. They create waves that touch countless lives. When you transform your inner world, you become a beacon for others, illuminating paths they never knew existed. Consider Thomas, a senior engineer who noticed a junior colleague struggling with self-doubt. Rather than simply offering technical guidance, Thomas shared his own journey through uncertainty. He demonstrated through action how believing in continuous growth transformed challenges into opportunities. His mentee not only gained technical prowess, but discovered an inner confidence that changed her entire approach to work and life. The universe operates through connection. Each shifted belief creates a resonance that others naturally attune to. Your personal transformation isn't just for you, it's a gift you offer to the world. Ancient practice for inspiring others. Take a moment to identify one empowering belief that has transformed your life. Perhaps it's the certainty that abundance flows freely, or that every challenge carries a hidden opportunity. On your journal page, write this belief at the center. Now contemplate 3 specific ways you can embody and share this belief with others. Like Maria's community gatherings or Thomas's mentorship, your actions can create ripples of positive change. Remember, the most powerful teaching comes not from words alone, but from living example. Finally, list 3 settings: family, work, or community, where modeling this belief might inspire others to recognize their own unlimited potential. Through this practice, you become a living bridge, connecting others to the timeless wisdom that flows through you. Chapter 28. Living as a Co-Creator. In the valleys of innovation, there lived an inventor named Sarah who understood a truth many overlook, that creation springs not from isolation, but from unity. While others sought solitary genius, she gathered diverse minds around her workbench. Engineers, artists, dreamers, each brought a unique perspective that, when woven together, sparked possibilities none could have imagined alone. Through their combined vision, they developed technologies that transformed waste into energy, bringing light to communities in darkness. Their success emerged not from Sarah's brilliance alone, but from the sacred dance of shared inspiration. You too are engaged in this eternal dance of co-creation with the universe. Every thought you hold, every action you take, ripples through the fabric of existence. The universe responds not just to your individual desires, but to the harmonious flow of collective intention. This truth manifests in ways both subtle and profound. When you align your creative force with the universe's infinite potential, doors open that seemed forever sealed. Resources appear, synchronicities multiply, and what once felt impossible transforms into the inevitable. Consider Elena, who dreamed of healing her city's food deserts. Rather than attempting this mission alone, she recognized the power of partnership, not just with other humans, but with the very force of creation itself. She began by listening to community needs, to the whispers of inspiration, to the subtle guidance that always surrounds you when you attune to it. Soon, her vision attracted others who shared her passion. Together, they created a network of community gardens, each plot a testament to the abundance that flows when individuals join with both each other and the universe itself. This ancient practice will help you step fully into your role as a co-creator. Take a clean page in your journal and pen a letter of gratitude to the universe. Express appreciation for its constant partnership, for the infinite possibilities it presents, for its unwavering support of your highest good. Write, "Beloved universe, I acknowledge our sacred partnership in creation. Thank you for..." Below your letter, write 3 clear intentions, actions you commit to take in alignment with universal flow. These aren't mere goals, but sacred promises to engage fully in the dance of co-creation. Remember, just as Sarah's inventions emerged through collaboration and Elena's gardens bloomed through partnership, your own highest creations will manifest through this divine alliance between individual inspiration and universal force. Chapter 29. Your Infinite Influence. In a quiet village among rolling hills lived a writer who spent decades crafting stories in obscurity. Each morning she would rise before dawn, light a single candle, and pour her truth onto empty pages. Though her words reached few in those early years, she wrote with unwavering faith that her message would find those who needed it most. Years passed, and her manuscript found its way to a small publisher. The book spoke of inner transformation, of breaking free from invisible chains, of discovering the boundless power within. While initial sales were modest, something remarkable began to unfold. Readers passed her book to friends, who shared it with family, who gave it to colleagues. Her words awakened something in each person they touched, a recognition of their own unlimited nature. Generations later, her book remains a beacon of transformation, not because she sought fame or recognition, but because she embodied the very freedom she wrote about. Her own journey of breaking through limitations became a bridge for countless others to cross. The universe works in spirals of influence, touching life after life in ways we cannot foresee. Take Marcus, a volunteer at a local shelter, who noticed elderly visitors struggling with loneliness. Instead of simply serving meals, he began sitting with them, listening to their stories. This simple act inspired other volunteers to do the same. Soon, the shelter transformed from a place of mere sustenance to one of genuine connection. What began as one person's choice to extend compassion grew into a community-wide movement. Other shelters adopted the practice. Schools created programs where students visited elderly residents. The ripples of Marcus's small act continue to expand, touching lives he will never meet. You hold within you seeds of transformation that can flourish far beyond your immediate sphere. The practice of conscious impact calls you to recognize these gifts and plant them deliberately. Take a quiet moment with your journal. Reflect deeply on your unique experiences, insights, and abilities, especially those born from your own journey beyond limitations. Write down 3 specific ways you can share these gifts to illuminate the path for others. Perhaps you'll mentor someone facing challenges you've overcome, or create art that expresses universal truths, or simply listen deeply to those who need to be heard. Let your response arise naturally from your authentic experience rather than from obligation or expectation. Remember that the greatest impact often comes not from grand gestures but from genuine moments of sharing your truth. As you align with your natural gifts and offer them in service to others, you become a living bridge between limitation and possibility, between what is and what could be. Chapter 30. Limitlessness as a way of being. In a mountain monastery, there lived a monk who dedicated his life to studying ancient texts. Each morning, as sunlight touched the peaks, he would select a new scroll, knowing that even familiar teachings held fresh wisdom when viewed through eyes renewed by experience. Though his beard grew white and his steps became measured, his enthusiasm for learning never dimmed. One dawn, A young disciple questioned why he continued his studies after so many years. The monk smiled and gestured toward the mountain peaks emerging from morning mist. Each day these mountains appear different, painted by new light, sculpted by changing shadows. So too does wisdom reveal itself anew to those who remain curious. You stand now at a similar threshold of understanding. The journey beyond limits knows no final destination, for the infinite cannot be contained within boundaries of completion. Each breakthrough reveals new horizons, each answer sparks deeper questions, each achievement opens doors to greater possibilities. Picture Sarah, an explorer who spent decades mapping uncharted territories. After each expedition, she would return home only long enough to prepare for her next journey. When asked why she never settled into a comfortable life, she would trace her finger along the edges of her maps and say, "The horizon is not a place to reach, but a reminder that there is always more to discover." One day, while crossing a vast desert, she found herself in a landscape so familiar she could navigate by memory. Yet something caught her eye. A play of light on distant dunes she had never noticed before. In that moment, she understood that even known territories held endless mysteries for those willing to see with fresh eyes. The universe whispers this truth: growth is not a linear path, but a spiral, returning you to familiar ground with expanded awareness. Each cycle brings deeper understanding, broader perspective, and renewed appreciation for the journey itself. Now, take your journal and create sacred space for reflection. Let these questions guide your contemplation. What 3 insights from your journey through these pages have most transformed your understanding of yourself and your potential? Choose one practice that has particularly resonated with you. Perhaps a daily ritual, a way of reframing thoughts, or a method of accessing your inner wisdom. Write about how you will weave this practice into the fabric of your daily life, allowing it to evolve as you grow. Remember that this moment is not an ending, but a pause in an eternal dance of expansion. Like the monk with his scrolls, or the explorer with her horizons, you too are a perpetual student of life's limitless mysteries. Conclusion. In these sacred pages, you have uncovered truths that have existed since time immemorial. Through each story, teaching, and practice, you have gradually dissolved the veils of limitation that once clouded your vision. Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, you have transformed your understanding of what is possible. Your journey began with recognition, the awareness that your beliefs shape the boundaries of your world. As you moved through these teachings, you discovered how to question these boundaries, to see them not as solid walls, but as illusions cast by old thoughts and outdated stories. The universe has always known your true nature. It has waited patiently as you remembered your inherent connection to the infinite. Each time you replaced a limiting belief with an empowering truth, you aligned more closely with your natural state of boundless potential. Yet this awakening is not a destination but a continuing unfoldment. Just as the ocean's waves never cease their eternal dance with the shore, your expansion into greater possibilities knows no end. Each breakthrough serves as a gateway to new horizons of understanding and creation. The wisdom you now hold is meant not only for your own transformation, but as a light for others. As you embody these truths in your daily life, in your choices, your relationships, your work, you become a living testament to what is possible. Your very presence invites others to question their own limitations and glimpse their infinite potential. Remember that mastery comes through consistent practice. Continue to examine your thoughts with gentle awareness, choosing in each moment whether to accept the whispers of limitation or to align with the truth of your unlimited nature. Let your actions flow from this expanded awareness, creating ripples of possibility that touch countless lives. The power to shape reality has always resided within you. These teachings have simply helped you remember what your soul has always known, that you are an infinite being, temporarily experiencing human form, with the capacity to create beyond any perceived boundaries. Now step fully into this knowing. Let every breath remind you of your connection to the limitless source of all creation. Allow your life to become a testament to what becomes possible when artificial boundaries dissolve and true potential awakens. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.